Today, we're going to be talking about ratio and proportion. A ratio is a comparison. So ratio is a comparison between two quantities by the use of division. So you can compare it A to B, that would be in words, A, two dots, and then B. Or typically what you're going to be seeing a lot in this chapter is A over B. First example, the number of students who participate in sports programs at Central High School is 520. The total number of students in the school is 1850. Find the athlete to student ratio. Okay, so that it actually tells me exactly here. Athlete to student. So you do athletes to students. Okay, our athletes is 520 over the total students, which is 1850, and that simplifies to 0.28. And that's an approximation. I had to pull up my calculator. I just want to make sure that you understood that that's an approximation. You could also get that as a simplified fraction. And you know what? The simplest it does is 52 to 185. That's the simplest that it's going to be. Okay, our second example. The ratio of the measures of the angles in a triangle EFG is 5 to 20 to 30. Find the measures of all the angles. So we know the angles in our triangle add up to 180. So 5x plus 12x plus 13x, because x is kind of like the ratio or the proportion that they're all equal to. Okay, simplify that. When I add that together, I get 30x is equal to 180. Therefore, x is equal to 60. I'm sorry, not 66. So I need to find the measures of the angles. Again, make sure that you're answering the question. So if x is 6, I plug in 6 there into the 5x. So that gets me one angle is 30. I plug in 6 into the 12. That gets me 72. I plug in 6 into the 13, and that gets me 78. And you might want to do a quick check that those angles add up to 180, and they do. Okay, a lot of what we're going to be doing in this chapter is setting up proportions and solving for x. So I want to do a little bit of review for you guys. Okay, what you do is you cross multiply. You take the 6, you multiply it to the y. So I get 6y. I take the 9 and the 18.2 and I multiply those together, and I get 163.8. I divide by 6 and I get 27.3. Again, cross multiply. So some teachers do it where you circle what you're multiplying together. Negative 26 times 3. And then that's going to equal 6 times 4x minus 5. Okay, now I just have to solve that equation. I distribute the 6 through. 24x minus 30 is equal to a negative 78. I add the 30 over to the other side. And I divide by 24. Oh, I didn't divide by 24. But I think that's 2. I'm using my calculator just to double check, and it is. Just we're negative because the 48 is negative. Okay, solving for b. Again, cross multiply. So I have 2 times b plus 10 is equal to 5 times b minus 5. So 2b plus 20 is equal to 5b minus 25. All right, I'm going to subtract the 2b over, because I always like my variables to be positive. Add the 25 over. And make sure you subtract correctly, Mrs. Marnell. Add the 25 over, we get 45 is equal to 3b. Divide by 3, b is equal to 15. Okay, number 4. Monique randomly surveyed 30 students from her class and found 18 had a dog or a cat for a pet. There are 870 students in Monique's school. Predict the total amount of students that with a dog or a cat. Okay, so what she's doing is she's taking a poll. And so she's taking kind of like what you do when you poll for an election. And they poll a smaller group to kind of look at what's going to happen with the whole election. So she found that 18 out of 30 from her class, we're going to assume that it's somewhat proportional, people that have a pet over 870. So what I said is the proportion I set up is a pet, people who have a pet over the total amount. Cross multiply. So I have 30x is equal to, divide by x, I get 522. Okay, that's a nice short lesson for today. That's all I have for you. Ratio and proportion. Thank you for watching.